Well, hello again, everyone. It's me again, and today I'm doing another cooking video because the last cooking video had lots of views for my standards. It had more than one view, so I see that you like these videos, especially these cooking videos, so I am going to continue doing them. So today I will be making macaroons. If you do not know what macaroons are, they are the hardest cookie to make, and I am going to attempt them. Now, I must say, I've made macaroons 10 times before. They turn out fine once. So this will be a challenge to make. I am in a completely different environment, with a completely different oven and completely different ingredients. So this will be fun to make. So yeah, let's get it started. A macaroon is the most full cookie that you can make. It stresses out on everything. Temperature too high, I am deflated. Temperature too low, I will not rise. Temperature not rested enough, I will not have any feet. It is a dangerous cookie to make, and it's really but I'm going to try it today. To make your macaroon, you will mostly need some almond flour. Now, I will be using this flour from Alika, quality sign. This is the only almond flour I could find. It's about 6 euros for 500 grams, which is a pricey item to have at your home. So I will use this as it is. Crystal sugar, powdered sugar, and eggs. Those are all of the ingredients that you will need to make macaroons. But I am going to use one more ingredient for the extra flavor. Here I've got some espresso powder, which is really tasteful and really good in these macaroons. So with all the ingredients, we can now start the process. First things first, the macaroon batter is really hard to make, and only experienced cooks can make it. Now, I'm not either of that, so I'm going to try my best. The first things first, you are going to need to prepare a sheet, because when you have the butter ready, you need to move fast. So prepare the sheet first thing. You need to use a flat sheet with preferably no sides or little sides. Now, the only thing I have is a sheet with some sides, so I'm going to be using that. This is the cooking sheet that I'm going to be using. It's really flat, and I'm going to be lining it with parchment paper. Now, you can use silicone mats or Teflon mats if you have one, but I am going to be just using simple parchment. Now, I will going to need to cut the parchment sheet because it's too large. Now we need a square, not a triangle like I did last time. A square of square. It just needs to cover the sheet. Won't be making the cookies too large, so now for the batter. The first thing we need to prepare is the dry ingredients, which are the following. A food processor or a kitchen robot. Now, I will be using this food processor, which I have at home. It will be totally fine, but I will need to split it up for 2 parts. But that's nothing to worry about. So into the bowl, I'm going to be pouring in 3/4 cup of almond flour, a teaspoon of the espresso powder, and 1 cup of powdered sugar. Now mix it with a spoon until it's combined, and then run it through the food processor.
You can make different kinds of macarons. These are espresso flavored shells, but you can make any type of shell really. Just be aware of the food coloring that you are going to be adding. You need to add gel food coloring, but since I don't have any.
So now that I have everything in my food processor, I'm going to be closing it and adding the top onto it. So now let's start. Make sure that you have your food appliances plugged in before you use them. So now, after a few minutes of figuring out the food processor, I'm ready to blend. So now that we have the fine powder, we are going to put it back in the bowl through a sieve. Now I have my sieved almond flour sugar espresso mixture, and I will put it aside. And this is the scrap of the mixture. It's rather coarse and can't be blended up more, and I will be tossing this into the bin. The next thing that we are going to be needing is the egg whites. Now I recommend taking the eggs out of the fridge prior to cooking these macaroons at least 2 hours. So I've got a few of room temperature eggs, but in case I break a yolk or something like that, I have more to spare. Now I will grab 1/4 of a cup of granulated sugar, about this much, but you cannot really see it. And I will now separate the egg whites from the egg yolks. Now break it on a flat surface and then use the 2 shells as a device. Now I already broke the yolk, I think, but that's fine. At least I'll get the egg white. This is the yolk. I'm putting it in here. I don't need the eggshell, so I'm just going to toss it into a bin. Now the other egg. I had luck with these eggs, and I have 2 egg whites without the yolk and 2 egg yolks without the whites. You will, however, need a mixer. If you want to do this by hand, it's completely fine, but I strongly recommend using an electric mixer because this will take a few minutes. We will be whisking these eggs until soft peaks. That means the peak falls over. Then we are gradually going to add the granulated sugar, which is 1/4 cup. After adding the sugar, you will beat it until stiff peaks or until you can put it over your head. I have soft peaks. I'm going to add sugar gradually into this mixture. And I'm going to keep mixing until I have stiff peaks. Now the true test is if you can hold this above your head, you've done it right. I am holding it above my head and I've done it right, at least I think. Now we have the meringue and the macaron mixture. We'll be adding this macaron mixture into the meringue in 3 parts. So that means divide it into 3 parts, roughly 3 parts, and add the first one to the meringue. For me it's about that much. And now we are going to fold it in. So that means turn it around and fold it. Turn it around and fold it. We'll be folding it. Now this is the part when you want to add your flavoring and the color. Your almonds are incorporated. Stop and add another part and fold it again. The thing we are doing is called macaronage, and that's a technique of folding the macarons in. Now we have the last part, which I'm going to add right now. And lastly, fold it. Now we don't want it to fold it too many times because the cookie will spread too much. And we want the consistency to be like a satin. And with this, you are not going to be able to do a figure 8. So push out any air bubbles that are on the sides and fold it. I usually fold it about 60 or 50 times in order to take the consistency that I want. I can now do the figure 8 with my spatula, and the consistency is about this, which if I grab some more, it is runny and it is good. So now be prepared for all these things. You need your baking pan, the mixture, the piping bag. My piping bags come with the tips pre-cut, diameter of 1 centimeter. We will be piping the macarons here on the pan. You can print out a template if you want. Let's start piping. Point it in 90-degree angle, put a little macaron and twist. Repeat. Now what is very important for these macaron cookies is that you break the air bubbles in the macarons. What we'll do is bang the cookie sheet onto the table a few times to release the air bubbles. Now that we have these ready, we are going to leave them like this for 30 minutes to an hour. They need to rest to make a shell. The shell will help them make the feet, which is at the bottom of the macaron. I will be back then to bake these. And we are going to preheat the oven to 160 degrees Celsius and then lower the temperature to 120 degrees Celsius when we put these in. So, now we have them baked. You know when they're baked, once they separate from the cookie sheet easily, and they should have this really nice bottom. They should look like your stereotypical macarons. They are brown since I added some espresso powder, and they are coffee flavored, which is delicious. For the frosting, you're going to need some butter. I'm going to be using this lactose-free butter, which is 125 grams, pot to mix in the buttercream, some powdered sugar, some milk. I'll be using lactose-free milk, a blender, and a piping bag. First things first, I'm going to take my butter and I'm going to put it inside the pot. Now that the butter is in the pot, I'm going to plug in the mixer and I'm going to mix up the butter. You have to mix it until it's white and creamy. Then you can add your sugar. I will be adding the sugar in tablespoons so I can control how much I'm using. I generally use about 6 tablespoons for this kind of amount. 2. And if your buttercream is not runny enough, add a bit of milk. Now my buttercream is pretty perfect right as it is, so I'm just going to mix it a bit more. And you've come to the easiest part, putting the macarons together. You're going to grab 2 macarons that are approximately the same size. And you're going to peel them off the tray. Stack them so they look like a macaron this time. And put the filling in between them. You don't want too much filling, but you want enough filling to soothe your macaron taste. That's enough filling, I think. I'm going to do this to all of my cookies and then I'm going to chill them in the fridge for about an hour. I like to eat my cookies a day after I make them because then they have the most potential and they have the most taste. But if you're impatient like me, go ahead and snack on them. Won't tell anyone. And there we have it, our coffee macarons. Now, let's taste one in front of camera so we know how it tastes. It's simply divine. Absolutely incredible. So as you can see, macaroons are very, very, very finicky. They do not like certain temperatures and certain ways they are made, but I was able to make them today. I would maybe next time use a different kind of almond flour, maybe more fine. As they are perfect. They're just going to be for me and my family. So as you can see, I made macaroons. So that's not an excuse for you. You can make them too. You know, if I make them, you too can make them. If you liked the video, don't forget to give it a like. If you did not like the video, give it a like too. It won't hurt you. Subscribe and ring the notification bell so you can be notified whenever I post a new video. The recipe will be down below if you want to make them. Good luck and goodbye.